tell you what that actually says. It says that you shall be for me. All right? Verse 9 and 6, it said that you should be unto me. But when you begin to put things in its proper context, because wording is very important, when it says for me, that means now that your responsibility is geared towards the Father. For me. For me. We're supposed to be the light of the world, okay, for all of the other nations out here on the planet Earth. That's your role, that's your responsibility, that's the reason why the Father chose you. For this commission, which is to be a set apart people. 1 Peter's. Let's go to 1 Peter's, or Peter. And let's go everybody knows these basic scriptures here, but the question always comes, are we actually applying what we're actually reading here? And what is the calling that the Father is actually doing by asking for us to do as his witnesses throughout the world? It says, but you are a set apart or a chosen race. That word race there, or people, 1 Peter, 2 and 9. When we see that word race, what's the first word or the first thing that comes to your mind? Excuse me?
Black people, white people.
Black people, white people.
Nation.
Mix. Okay. I read it again. But you are a set apart race. When it says the word race is what I'm trying to look at here, we're talking about genetics. Okay? Genetics here. This whole thing is about genetics. From Genesis to Revelation, this is talking about a special people that the Father is calling, all right, to walk a particular walk. In this particular walk right here, the Melchizedek in that royal bloodline is not like the Levitical bloodline or order. So when it says now, but you are a set apart race, ministering as priests to the kingdom, a set apart people, a congregation redeemed. What does it mean when someone says that? What does the word redeem? What is one of the first words that comes to your mind when we say the word redeem? Because I'm going to need some participation here because sometimes I don't like giving the answers all the time.
To be purchased or bought.
To get back or to...
Right. And what's interesting with what Ezekiel just said, to be brought back. So if somebody was sold and you're now going to redeem these people, you're now buying back, okay, somebody that was sold. And these people were brought back by the bloodline. This particular person that we're talking about now is the blood now of the Mashiach. So the nation of Yashra'al was brought or bought back. And they were brought back now. They were now told to walk in a specific and particular order. A redeemed congregation that you shall proclaim the praises of him, which is the Father, who called you out of darkness into his precious light. That precious light is referring to the Mashiach. All right? So there's a lot that's going on in 1 Peter, the 2nd chapter, verses 2 and 9. Question. It's been asked a lot. Okay? Who is Melchizedek, And that's like the $100 question here. We're going to go to the book of Bereshit, the 14th chapter. You're going to see just how important this calling is. Okay, there we go. 14th chapter, verse 18, excuse me. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of El Elyon. And he blessed him, Abraham, and said, Blessed be Abraham of El Elyon, possessor of heaven and earth. I wrote down here a list of arguments. My first argument is Melchizedek is not a name. Again, Melchizedek is not a name, but a title. Yes, there is written documentation in apocryphal books that this is actually Shem. But me personally, I disagree. All right? And we're not going to really split hairs about it, because I can almost guarantee you in the day of judgment, the Father's not going to say, listen, you know what was Melchizedek, Shem, or was it the Mashiach? All right? And if you give the wrong answer, you know, you're going to be thrown into outer darkness. I don't believe that's going to happen. But I don't believe that Shem was actually Melchizedek here, that Abraham is met with. Melchizedek is two words. We have the word Malki, or Malek, and it means king, messenger, and the word Zadok means righteous. Okay, or righteousness. My third argument, because the second argument was that when I broke down the word king and the word Zadok. So my third argument is anything that needs to be established must be established in Shamayim first. So talking about this Melchizedek, before we can have a Melchizedek here on earth, before I can begin to go into this whole thing that Melchizedek was actually Shem, again, my argument now is that there was a Melchizedek, or a royal bloodline, that existed in Shamayim first, as it states in the Father's prayer that Brother Yaakov did. Our Father which art in Shamayim, or heaven, thy will be done on earth as it is in Shamayim, or in heaven. So once things are presented first in heaven, then it gets manifested here on earth. So this righteous order started in heaven first, and it manifested itself here on earth. My fourth argument is Melchizedek brought forth bread and wine. Bread and wine are covenant agreement meals that we always talk about. And they're oftentimes known as ritual ceremonies or inauguration rites to a clan or party. So what we have now, Abraham and Melchizedek having this gathering here now, what's happening is that Abraham is being introduced into a royal priest line of the Melchizedek order. And in order to continue this Melchizedek order, we have to be very careful and mindful of the royal bloodline. Okay, seed is very, very important. Genetics is very important. In order to keep now this bloodline running, in order for the nation of Yashra'al to continue, seed and bloodline is detrimental. Without this being followed, seed bloodline, the nation of Israel will cease to be a nation. And we're going to show this in a little bit more detail today. My fifth argument is the bread represents the Mashiach. So in this meeting now that Abraham is having now with Melchizedek, my argument is that the bread represents the Mashiach. I'm going to go to the book of John. Go to the book of John. And we're going to go with the 6th chapter. Here it is, 6th chapter. I'm reading from the Aramaic Peshetter. So if anything sounds a little bit different, I'm telling you what I'm reading from. 6:35. The Mashiach said to them, his Talmudim, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to the Mashiach shall not hunger, and he that believeth on the Mashiach shall not thirst forever. So that word forever is very important because it's going to tie us in now with Melchizedek and the Mashiach being a priest forever. So once we now partake of this set-apart walk and we commit ourselves to Torah and following and understanding that the Mashiach is that bread, you have now come in union with this Melchizedek order, and you have now introduced yourselves now into this bread of life. Everybody's told so far? Okay. My sixth argument is the Mashiach represents the wine in this ritual ceremony because he brought forth bread and wine. Let's go to the book of Mark. The book of Mark, the 15th chapter. And the 15th chapter, I'm going to start at the 23rd verse. The 23rd verse. And they gave him, which is the Mashiach, to drink wine, in which myrrh was mixed, and he would not receive it. And when they had crucified him, they divided his garments and cast lots unto them, with each should take. And it was the third hour when they crucified him. And the cause of his death was written in the inscript, this is the king of the Yahudim, so the Jews. And they crucified him with two robbers, the one on his right hand and the other on his left. And the scripture was fulfilled which saith, he was accounted among the wicked. And they also that passed by reviled him, and nodding their heads, they said, Ah, thou that destroyest the temple and buildest it in 3 days, rescue thyself, and come down from the cross, or the tree. And so also the chief priests jeering one with another, and the scribes said, he gave life to others, his own life he cannot save. Verse 32, let the Mashiach, the king of the Yahudim, now descend from the tree, that we may see and believe in him. And those who were crucified with him derided him. And when the 6th hour was come, there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour. And in the 9th hour, the Mashiach cried with a loud voice and said, Let me know, Shabbat, which is Alo, Ali, why hast thou forsaken me? And certain who had heard of them, who was standing, said, Eliah he calleth for. But one ran and filled a sponge with vinegar, and bound it with a rod that he might drink. And they said, Let alone, he we will see if Eliah will come to take him down. Now, if you were paying attention, how many times was the Mashiach offered drink? Twice. Hallelujah. In verse 23, we'll go back to that. And they gave him to drink wine, which myrrh was mixed, and he would not receive it. Understanding now the redemptive role of the Mashiach, because it's real easy. Why do you believe that the Mashiach didn't take the first offering of the wine? Because he's talking about this Melchizedek order here. It is very, very important because we've been going over this for the last 3 weeks. It's now the 4th week. I just need to make sure that everybody is understanding. Now, the reason why I'm meticulous with Scripture, I am the way that I am with it. Okay, got up at 3:30 this morning. Been working on this lesson all week, but been up since 3:30 to 7:30 this morning, getting this lesson together. And just I had to fine tune it to make sure everything was nice and tight with it, and there's no mistakes. In verse 23, they said they gave them to drink wine in which myrrh was mixed. That word myrrh is it's like a medicine, an alloy, something now that's going to ease the pain. The Mashiach now, understanding the redemptive role and what he needed to do, he is now taking on the sins of the adulterous woman, the nation of Yashra'al. What the Mashiach is actually doing, he didn't take the first offer of wine because I'm going to endure all of the pain, okay, that you went through. That's how important Scriptures is in understanding what the Messiah actually did. This is the reason why I have a serious problem when I hear certain brothers and sisters, I'm not talking about anybody in particular now, when we begin to say, I can't do that for the nation and the body. I don't get it. It's like trying to put information into a hard drive and it keeps kicking it out. So every time I hear it, it keeps kicking out because I've already been programmed by what I'm reading. Unless somebody can show me something different, the Father's not coming to compromise with me at all. Because he's not taking the first drink because it's mixed. I'm going to do all of the suffering for you. So in return, because our people now are used to taking. Our people are at the point where when we pray, we always like, give me. And we never say thank you. Never say thank you. So each and every one of us now have to re-examine ourselves and make sure that we understand, especially here, we're going to go into this a lot deeper here now, this Melchizedek order. It's going to blow your mind. Now, I'm not getting it. My argument is this, I'll let you know off the bat. I don't agree, okay, at all with none of the philosophies and the ideas of America. I just don't. I'll listen to you. I'll try to make sense out of it. But I have a shirt that says, if you can't show it to me in Torah, I don't really want to hear it. Because I can't have my decisions wavered. Because that's going to now be on me. All right? So watch this now. Verse 34. Watch how this goes. And in the 9th hour, the Mashiach cried to the Father and said, Eloi, Eloi, why hast thou forsaken me? And when he had heard of them who were standing, said Eliah, he calleth. One ran and filled a sponge with vinegar, okay, and bound it with a rod that he might drink. Now, that one, okay, the Mashiach took. Sour vinegar, okay, those of us that know a little bit about the wine thing here, sour vinegar, what that does, that it kind of like wakes you up. Anything that is sour and if you were drowsy or whatever like that, if you take sour candy, it automatically it shocks you. So this wine here now kept the Mashiach up, okay, again, so that he could endure everything for you until the very end. I don't want to be unconscious while this is happening. I want to bear your sins. All right? My seventh argument is Melchizedek in Bereshit 14 and 18. It has two titles or positions. First, he's a king of righteousness. This is one. This will be very important now. And he's also called the king of peace. However, in the book of Hebrew, or the book of Hebrews, we get a full description of who this priest was. Let's go now to the infamous Hebrews. Hebrews, the 7th chapter. I just want to share something with you right quick. And everybody has their testimony. When I came into this walk in 1992, there's one thing that I did learn. I don't agree with a lot of the teachings that I got, but that hardcore military style, I admire. I really, really admire that, and that I did learn. Military training is very, very important, as our brother here can explain to you, because it teaches men how to be men. Okay, because the men today are not like the men of old. Maisha should tell you, that's the reason why a lot of things that I do, even around the house, I'm real hard on myself. Because I see how my grandfather operated, how my father operated, and I want to be like them. And furthermore, I want to be like the Abrahams. Like I explained last week, all right? I've been told, listen, Kasada really believes that Abraham is his father. He believes that. So he really wants to walk and be like Abraham. Kasada is actually believing that Sarah is his mother, Jacob is his father, Isaac is his father, and he believes now that nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. But a small little thing is that now we're in captivity. But I believe that I should